God is a creator, because the introduction that we have about God in the Bible is that he's a creator, and God created us in his image and his likeness. Well, that means that we are to be creators ourselves. God created the trees, but he never created chairs. God created the human brain, but he didn't create a computer. God created the birds to fly, but he didn't create an aeroplane. And just like you said, the first is that God created everything by laws, by fixed laws and certain principles. So let's take example of the birds of the air that fly. Because of the laws and principles that God created, has put in place, we can study the flight of birds, and that was exactly what was done that led to the creation of aeroplanes. Yeah. We can study the laws and principles that horses used to run, and that's what created the idea of cars. So
because of the predictability of those laws, because God made them fixed, so he's giving us a suggestion. So when he created the birds to fly, they violate gravity. But that is a suggestion for us, that if you will study the birds and the way they fly, you will be able to calculate and come up with a system of things flying. And that is how the planes were created. Because the laws that is being violated by the birds, they are fixed laws. The law of gravity are fixed. So you could now say, okay, what is the thing behind this thing flying? Study the thing that is flying, and then you'll be able to recreate it, through mathematics and physics. That's why we need physics. So the same thing with human brain. When you study human brain, it's a fixed law. So when you study human brain, then you'll be able to duplicate it, because it's a fixed principle that are working in human brains. And that's how we're able to create the computer. That's what it's saying. So when you study the horsepower, why is horse running faster than human beings? Then so you study the dynamics of it, physics of it, mathematics of it, then that's how we're able to create cars. So, but if those laws have not been fixed, if God had not subjected them, make them to function by these laws, everything must function by law, then you have to be praying to God all the time. So if God had not created things to function by law, then you have to be praying. Every time will be different. So every time will be an emergency. You have to be praying to God every time. But that is exactly the reason why we are not created to pray to survive on the earth. We don't need prayers to survive on the earth. And you don't even need faith in God to survive on the earth. That's why atheists are surviving. They are not praying. They don't even believe in God. And they are even building countries that function better than we will pray, because we don't get it. Even the atheists got it, that God has already put everything under fixed laws. Just find those things out. You'll be able to function here. The only reason why you need to pray is if God had not done a good job. If God had not made everything predictable, then you have to be asking him all the time to show you equations. But because God has already made everything predictable, you don't need to be running to God for emergency every time. So that's the problem of our people. By saying that only God can fix Nigeria, only we need God, only God, God must help us. We are telling God he didn't do a thorough job, he didn't do his job. We are trying to tell him that he made life unpredictable. We are trying to tell him that he made life mysterious. We are trying to tell him that he put us in darkness. But he didn't. He subjected everything to fixed laws so that we will apply our minds and be able to understand those laws, build systems for them to function. We ourselves, and that's what Anu started with, that he didn't create planes because he has already given up birds. Study the laws, fixed laws under which the birds fly, and create your own system that will fly. He didn't create cars, but he created horses, animals that run fast. Study the principles upon which they function like that, and then you will create, analogy, which is cars. Study human brain, you create computer. So everything is an idea. It gave us prototypes, ideas, suggestions. But those things are under laws. Why? Law make it predictable. Those laws are there for you to be able to come and dominate and replicate and be able to see more things to do. But then they will not happen automatically. You need your mind for that. Please go ahead, because it's one thing that I'm saying, for me to be saying these things, because when I'm saying them, I'm talking from the idea of things are obvious for me. So, but when you are getting it, and you can use your own idea, your own words to make people get it closer, because you are closer to where they are.
All right. So I'll give more examples. There was a time in history where doctors were referred to as chosen of God, like they had some
God sent.
Like for you to be able to treat someone. Let's say someone had headache, and you give the person something, and the person's like, he's gone. They're like, you have a superpower.
Yeah, they will say you are babalawo, or you are a herbalist. You are God. You are anointed by the gods to heal. You are a native doctor.
Yes. Exactly. So, but what did God do? God created the solution for any and every disease problem that would ever exist on earth. And that's why you see pharmaceutical companies, they don't go to space to get those preparations for medications. It is from leaves. It is from nature. They go and then they go process and get all of those things. So what did God do? God created all of these things because he wanted us to, the Bible says that it is the wisdom of God. How does it put it? It is the glory of God to hide some things, to conceal a matter, and it is the glory of kings to discover it. And that's all God has created us to do, to discover medicine in trees, in leaves. Another example I'd like to give is with communication. There was a time where, if you could teach, you were referred to as, you're very good. The days of village headmasters, where only one person could teach. Only one person could
even read.
Or could read. But that wasn't God's idea. God didn't want just one person to be the superhuman who knows how to do everything, and everybody's at their feet saying, teach me, lecture me. No. But there was a system through which God communicated, and he had already put it in nature. So it is the glory of man to discover,
to dig deep,
and to dig deep, and then formulate what we call the alphabet, to formulate what we call the ABC that we have today, that now makes communication easy. Now anybody can read. Now anyone can write. Another example I would like to give is with driving. There was a time in history where to be a driver was like you had a super talent, because only few people knew how to drive. If you were to drive and come out on the streets, the whole city will come out and be rushing at you that, wow, you're driving a car. But today, just anybody can drive a car. Why? Because someone sat down, built a system that could train people, just anybody, to drive cars. And now anyone can drive a car. So everything, system building, and the principle that Pastor Sunday is sharing here, that God created everything by laws and certain principles. So he applied it in his own creation. And he created man to be a creator. And he made all of his creation to function by fixed laws and certain principles, so that man would take that effort to discover the laws and principles that governs life and then apply it to solve their problems here on earth.
You want to add to it?
Yeah. I like trying to relate it back to the Bible, because I know a lot of people watching.
Yeah, the Bible, they will understand.
Very religious and very spiritual. Like when the Bible says that God knows the end of a matter from the beginning, I think I can relate it back to this, because he knows the laws and principles that he has put in place, and he also knows that he has subjected everything to those laws and principles. So if you follow one path, he knows where you're going to end up because of those laws and those principles. And the classic example is
and not just God, though.
Yeah.
Because it made them fix so that we might also
No,
know.
I wanted to give a classic example, which is a funny one, was just the recent election. While everybody was prophesying, because you knew
that God said.
Yeah, because you knew the principles, how things work, how elections are played, and you didn't even prophesy, you predicted that this was going to be the outcome. So I think for us is a lesson for us also.
Because since God knows the beginning from the end from the beginning, the end of a matter from the beginning of it thereof, that's God talking about himself. Yeah. But what we should know is that when God does things like that, he's just showing us a way. He's showing us a model, giving us a precedence, so that we too might learn to live our lives in such a way that by finding out the principles and the algorithm, the laws and fixed, everything is fixed. So you too could find out the end of a thing from the beginning of it thereof, just like God. Why? Because God made it easy for us. He put everything, he subjected everything under law and principle. Anybody wants, share?
I was just thinking about weather.
About what?
About the weather.
Beautiful.
Like in North America, you know when it's winter season, when it's summer, and when it's winter, there's going to be snow, and they prepare for it.
Stand up.
So
they want you to stand up.
So you're prepared for winter in terms of snow and everything, and they can predict it because they know snow's coming. They predict the if it's going to be -30, minus whatever it is, and the same way.
Low a little bit.
The same way.
Lower.
If in Nigeria you know there's rainy season, and that's something that God has already put in place. Rainy season.
And nobody is building a system.
Yeah. And
we are not building dams. We are not building.
Yeah. So if there's a system in place, then you'll be able to deal with flood for those rainy season. That's
you see. So all these things are, suggestions of nature, suggestions of God to us. But if you don't learn to build systems, you will not even think of building a system, a dam ahead of the rainy season. You will not think about it because you are not operating in systems. You will just be hoping and praying that, we hope this year there will be no flood. There is something, Ojupa or something in Ibadan. Ogumpa. That this river will not flood this time again. And we are praying. And you know what our traditional African people will do? They will go and be doing sacrifice to the gods, because it's paganistic worldview. So they will begin to say, we have to appease the gods. And that is what paganistic. Last year I spoke about worldviews. That's why they do that. But because our whole system we are not used to building system and thinking systems. We don't even prepare for it. Beautiful example. But also, can you imagine that tomorrow they have built a system to tell us what the weather will be? But only God knows. It's supposed to be only God that knows. And day after tomorrow, what weather it will be. Only God should know that kind of thing now. How can man know? So that is why when white people came to Europe, when they came to Africa, and they will show us some of those magics, we just sold out all our brothers and sisters. We said, these gods have come to us. Because we were not used to what systems are. And we didn't know that we could predict what tomorrow's weather would be. And day after tomorrow's weather, because God has put everything and subject them to fixed laws and principles. So if I will understand those laws and principles, I will be able to, like God, predict as well. Then if I build a system, I might be able to even manipulate and juggle and rejuggle some of those things.
Sorry, I just want to add to make this do we exploit?
How do we?
Exploit and exploit.
I don't understand the question.
To exploit the earth.
How do we exploit the earth?
Yeah.
Based on principles?
Based on principles and laws. And I'm saying that.
No, you don't be microphone.
Okay.
No. You see the head of the microphone.
Yeah.
That's it now.
And I'm trying to look at it from this angle. God has already given us the power or the knowledge to take dominion.
Yes, sir.
Over the sea, over the land, over the air. Is it possible for that to function when we are failing to take responsibility? Because before you take dominion, you must take responsibility. And now we are talking about God's grace, like we are all used to. How do you find the grace of God if you fail to take responsibility? And now taking responsibility, you are looking for the grace of God now for revelation to confirm. You are already into it. I'm already working. I have taken responsibility to take dominion. Now I need the grace of God now to continue with God to confirm what He has already done. Am I working with the laws and the principles? Guide me, Lord. I think that is where I have my little contribution. That is my take on it, to support your teaching, sir.
Beautiful. Yes, somebody.
The way that I see how the principles of God work in creation is I look at it like in childbearing. For all of us, we all know that when a child is born, there's a certain limit that we expect that child to be talking or to be walking. But if that child is not walking or talking by the end of the second year, we know that something is wrong. Therefore, we have to go back.
Please, can you start again?
Oh, okay. The principles of God in how He subjected everything with His principles, with laws and principles. I look at it just in a simple way, the way when a child is born, we all know that by the end of the year, at least that child should be crawling and trying to walk. But if that doesn't happen, we know that there's a problem. And we can, because these things are predictable, any parent can know that, by this time, I should be getting ready to give this child something to, prepare them to go to school or buy certain type of clothes. But then if it doesn't happen, that means we have to go back and find a solution. Is this child malnourished? Are we giving the right food? Is there something wrong? Is there an illness? That's how the predictability comes in,
yeah.
yes. And anyone, it's not too complicated. Anyone can tell that this is the system that God has built, and by such an age, a patient should be able to marry or to have children or to become a teenager. That's how I look at it.
Yes, that's a very good practical example. Now, what's your name again, my sister? Audrey. Now, the thing you have to continue is that that is a logical example, but obvious one. Now, but you have to look at the whole world from that perspective.
Yes.
That the whole earth, just like with that child, that you could predict what will happen to him, and that's the way to look at the whole world in totality. That's the way to look at the economy. That's the way to look at development. That's the way to look at politics. That's the way to look at technology. That's the way to look at air that you are seeing, that you are breathing in. That's the way to look at birds. That's the way to look at land. That's the way to look at that there are some laws behind it. With the child, it's so obvious. But what will you tell me the laws behind the soil? And how the soil is supposed to function? And how to reverse it and what to do about it? Will you be able to tell me what to do about rocks and the laws that are behind them and how they're supposed to function and what they're supposed to produce for you? Will you be able to tell me about the sky that you are looking at? What are the skies supposed to deliver to you? What are the laws behind it? And how could you make it to function that way? So what I'm saying is that everything was created like that to function under such predictable laws. So when you know that life is predictable that way, then and the child is not walking and is not talking, you know what to do. You go to the hospital or you look for a specialist. But our people have been so brainwashed these days that they will not even go to hospital, they will be praying. Yes. Talk less of, economy or other things like that. Even the things that are so obvious, like child or pregnancy, or they are not pregnant, they will be making it spiritual. So spirituality has come to do us, more harm than good. We have lost our common sense. We have become biomasses just because of religion. Now there is a place for religion, there is a place for God, but we are not talking about that on now. Let's leave that one out. Bola, you wanted to add to that?
Sorry, sir. I just want to take you back. I'm very sorry.
No, go ahead.
That how did we get to this level? Because I know I'm over 50 and I didn't get this knowledge from anywhere. No. And I support that startup that you've just said about the younger ones.
Yeah.
How to build them up.
Yeah.
Because maybe our teachers have failed.
Yep.
Or the church have failed.
Yep.
For us to reach this level now and start thinking, oh, I should have done this years and years ago.
Yes, but I will answer that question, Mrs. Abola. With the educational system that we have in Africa, we don't understand reasons for education. Now, what I'm telling you right now is making you to know the reason for science and the logic in mathematics and physics. Why? Because they will help you to discover the laws and principles. You need to calculate. Why is the horse running faster than the man? Why is the bird those are science. That's why we need science. That's why we need mathematics. That's why we need calculations. That's why we need physics. So that's the whole essence of education. But the way education is being given to us in Africa is that we inherited education. And the whole basic understanding of education in Nigeria, while I was growing up, and Africa, is that it gives you literacy. And what do we count literacy to be? Our definition of literacy is ability to read and write. So even when your parents are telling you have to go to school, they will say you'll be literate. And be literate means to read and write. Now, then we go further and say you need to get a profession. And the reason you get a profession is not because for you to be educated or to know how life functions. So education for us is not how to know how life functions, but it's for you to go and to become a doctor and a lawyer so that you get good status, you'll be able to get good salary, good job, and good payment, and good life. So what education is for us in Africa, the way it has been sold to us, is that education is a means of being literate, number one. Secondly, to be able to get job, profession. And profession is to give you job, salary, survival, and have good status. So we didn't have education as I'm teaching you now. That education is for you to understand creation. And education is an opportunity for you to be able to have dominion over all of creation as God has created you to be, to have the dominion over them. And for you to have dominion over them, you need to have the knowledge of how they function. And then how to manipulate those laws to use them to create any system that you desire. So that is what I'm teaching you now. But even in Europe and America, even teachers of today don't know that. The people who know that are only the people who started the whole thing, who are the forefathers who started education, who started medicine. But all other people, they are just following that it works. We just maintain it. But in Africa, it's worse. We don't have the concept of it, of what education is all about. So what you are saying right now, why did we miss it? We missed it because our tenets of our understanding of education is based on the fact that we want to be literate, we want to have good standing in the society, we want to have a good job and have money coming. So we don't look at education. So that's why a lot of students will run away from physics or mathematics. For example, in Nigeria right now, if you say you are going to study single degree, or what they call it, is it single degree you call it? No, one, no, what do you call it? There is something they call single honors, I think they call it, or one honors, physics honors, or mathematics honors. Once just what?
Just one course.
One honor, yeah, one honorary degree like that. Not law, not engineer, not accountant, not doctor, just physics. Go to university to just study physics. Teacher now, you will just become a teacher. That's why you are condemned. Mathematics, only mathematics. Teacher now. Chemistry, just chemistry alone. Teacher. We don't understand that the whole essence of education is actually in those things: physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics. But what was it for? Not to get a job, and those are the main important courses. But that's the one nobody studies in Nigeria, because if you study them, you just become a teacher. But because we don't know the essence of them and why that they are meant for the injection of nature and understanding the laws behind everything, so that then we could use those laws to build systems that will solve our problems today in every area of life. So what you are hearing right now, you could go to Harvard and not hear it. You could go to any college. You could go to Oxford and never hear it. You could go to any college and never hear it. Because it's about getting certificates to get a job. It's not about making you be aware. Now, let me tell you the whole essence of education, therefore. Education is not about literacy, being able to read and write. That is a given. So what is education then? Education is for you to be able to understand that life is based on laws. And that laws are supposed to help you to understand cause and effect. These things I'm telling you right now, that's what education is supposed to be about. But you can go through PhD and not understand that. And that also education is about questioning. So two things we want to remember. Whenever you think about education, two things you must remember. One, education is supposed to give you the ability to question everything. Why should you question everything? So that you find out the laws. The fixed laws behind those things. If you don't question why horses run faster than man, you'll never be able to get a car. If you didn't question why birds fly and man cannot fly, you will never be able to build planes. Questioning is one of the most important objective of education. But in our culture, education doesn't, in fact, the culture even will not allow you to question anything. Because if you question, you become rebellious. Even if you go to church, they will tell you in church that questioning makes you to be disloyal or to be rebellious. But the whole essence, and the only way for you to know who is educated is if he is a man of critical thinking and questioning. So that's number one thing, what education should give everybody, ability to question everything. Number two thing that education should give you is ability to understand that everything is based on laws, cause and effect. That there are laws that are responsible for everything. And that you yourself, you can understand those laws. And once you understand those laws, you can use those laws to build and bring any solution you want in life. That is what education is all about, those two sentences. That is the whole essence of education. It's not about you getting a job. It's not about you having a status. It's not about you, getting a certificate. No. It's about what it does in you, inside you.
The last one is that Dr. Arno said that, suggested that maybe we might be going to construction site to
see closer a bit, yeah.
To see how the laws and principles
are working, yes.
Is it possible when you go to Nigeria, sir,
yes.
and this startup,
yes,
I don't know how to pronounce it, apprenticeship.
Apprenticeship,
yes, for those young ones
yes.
to start from the beginning.
Yes.
because our mother says we can. I don't want my child to be a builder. And that kind of things. If they can't start from there, I think the world will change a bit.
You are very correct. My own goal is that I want to build technical colleges all over Nigeria. I don't want to build universities. I want to only build technical colleges, because technical colleges give you skills and make you to know how to do things. You know how laws work and how those laws function and how to practically manipulate and use the laws. Yeah, yes.
I know we've concentrated on laws. What about principles?
They are the same thing.
Okay.
Yes, I interchange them.
Oh.
But because laws are what God has put in place, but principles are our understanding of them, of the laws. So laws are the fixed thing from those laws we can gain principles. We can, that will help us to apply them. So principles are the application, but they break down laws to make it simpler for us to follow and apply them. Okay, do we have the microphone there? So right now we are just in number 1 slide. But I hope we are making progress. We are getting it. So let's come again.
God created everything by laws and certain principles. Life works by certain identifiable principles. That is why life is predictable.
Okay, read those 2 statements again.
Life works by certain identifiable principles. That is why life is predictable.
Say that again.
Life works by certain identifiable principles. That is why life is predictable.
That is everything we have been trying to explain in the past 50 minutes. That's exactly what that says. But I want somebody to tell me how you understand that now. These 2 statements. Anybody wants to use his own word to explain?
All right, I'll give it a go, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So, in creating the world, God created the earth by laws and principles. That is how He's created them. Now, He has also subjected life and everything He has created under these certain laws and principles. Now, you've told us that laws are what God uses. That is what He's put in place. But the principles are our understanding of those laws. Now, by doing that and by us understanding those laws and thereby bringing our principles from them, it makes how we live our life predictable. Now, the examples that Dr. Anu has given is learning, for instance. By going to school to learn the principles of learning, we're able to imbibe those into our lives and then become whatever we want to be. When it comes to driving, by going to the school of driving, we're able to learn the principles of driving, imbibe those laws into our lives, and we're able to drive anywhere in the world. That is my understanding of what you just said, sir.
What you said is so correct, but I would then ask you a question.
Okay.
Why then is it that religion in Africa is going, or you don't think religion is going just against what you just said, the direct opposite?
It is. What religion is showing is, instead of guiding us back into ourselves to learn those laws and principles, it is in error directing us back to God to do what God has put in charge for us to do on this earth.
So the people then who are saying that I'm pompous, I am proud, by saying, no, not God will fix Nigeria, that I will fix Nigeria, or we will fix Nigeria. Yeah. And they are saying, no, without God you cannot do anything. How will you understand them?
Well, in the first instance, they've just shown the ignorance that has been perpetuated over the ages. We've been trained. Because by
so all of us were like that.
Everyone was like that. Everyone was. So they're just showing the ignorance that they know. But we know better now. We know God has created it. He has given us dominion over the earth. He has given us the laws to be right in front of us. So it's now left for us to use the mind He's given us to understand those laws, generate principles from those laws, and thereby make our life predictable.
I think Chris wanted to comment on the question.
Yeah, I just wanted to concentrate on 2 keywords there. One is identifiable and the other one is predictable. And what I understand is everything around us, just looking at nature itself, everything around us, like you said, has been subjected to laws and
It's
principles.
predictable.
But until we can identify those laws, our lives, you can never be able to predict anything. Life will be chaotic.
Brilliant.
So,
And adding to what he's saying right now, the reason why I put, and I almost left that out, the reason why we use the word identifiable here is that it is the whole essence of science and education to be able to identify. And God made them to be identifiable. Because if it's not identifiable, if those laws are not identifiable, how will we be able to understand them and even dominate and function and rule over them? But this our God, He is so perfect. He is so good. He has made all preparations. He made the laws identifiable. He has done everything for us. It's no more right for us to be going to Him and be saying, you didn't do this, you didn't do that.
no, I think I'll just put this. Since meeting you, my whole understanding of this concept of dominion has just completely changed.
What was it before?
Before it's, you can pray and the dominion we understood is always within the concept of spiritualism, within the concept of religiosity. You pray until if you can heal the sick, if you can raise dead, that is dominion. Yeah. When you see them organize programs.
So what is your own understanding now?
Yeah, my understanding is life in general, that you don't even have to be a Christian to have dominion. Dominion, and because like I was sharing with my brother in the room that when God created Adam was not a Christian. There was nothing like religion in the world. He just created a man and told that man, go and have dominion. So it's not a exclusive right to Christians. Dominion is for any man, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of religion, sex, whatever.
Man or woman.
One man or woman. It's for you. It's an assignment that has been given to man. And that's why even as an atheist that don't believe in God, they still have dominion.
As long as it's a man.
As long as you understand the principles. Like if you look at some of the documentaries, you see like how the Europeans or the Asians are being able to study insects, study birds, study things to build
other things.
Yeah, to build other things. Just they'll have a problem, and they've been able to identify that, okay, that problem that they have can be resolved just by studying something in nature.
Yep.
So they'll go and look for something that is just like how they build helicopter. There's this insect that they call it, I can't remember what they call it now, that flaps the wings very rapidly.
Yeah.
But that can, dragonfly, yeah. That's how they studied the dragonfly, and they were able to come up with the concept of building helicopters. Even the drones now we fly today, it's all that.
Yeah. So that is the whole essence of education. They are identifiable. Those laws are identifiable, so that we will be able to progress and build heaven on earth. That's the whole idea, that thy kingdom come to the earth as it is in heaven.
Yeah, I mean, from what I'm getting is, well, not all of us are chance to study science, that or that. So we have not studied in-depth science, we only know the periphery. How can we now be able to build or instigate system building? Because, I mean, I'm still in shock that what are the universities and higher institutions of Nigerians are built, I mean, the students graduating in all these fields, what were they doing?
What are they doing? Yeah, but let me tell you something. You came here to learn systems, so you will learn it by the time you leave. This is just introduction. And thank God that, like I said in the beginning, that God has given me the grace to simplify complex concepts. So you will learn it. But also, let me tell you also too, that, can you believe it? I never studied science. And I'm the one teaching science students. I'm teaching graduates of Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge. They come to me to learn now. Because what matters in life is not what school gave you or what somebody else gave you, but what you give yourself. Yeah, it is self-education. So I studied in Idomela. If you know what that means that I'd never seen a laboratory in my life. I never saw a laboratory in my life before I left Africa. And I never saw library. I never saw library in my life. No physics teacher, no chemistry teacher, no only biology teacher sometimes, once in 1 year out of 5 years of secondary school. Mathematics once in a while. I never studied any of those things. But I discovered soon in life that real education is not what somebody gave me in school, but the one I get for myself. So, and I also discovered something that I think we will soon write a book about, that if you want to mention the 5 most important things in life, that family is not one of them. Children is not one of them. Money is not one of them. Success is not one of them. But one thing that is one of them is self-education. It's more important than children, more important than wife, than husband, than those things. So when I discovered that self-education is more important than all these things, I said, well, Shineke, oh. Who lied to me? What have I been chasing all my life? So I started chasing self-education, building myself. And now I train and I teach other people, even in science. I have friends who are professors, who are American professors in physics, in mathematics, in chemistry, and they tell me that it is only when we met Adelaja, they are professors, so they are teaching, that we understood the purpose of mathematics and the purpose of science and the purpose of chemistry. So when I taught them this top subject, that is when they knew what mathematics, calculation, and all these things are for, that they are for understanding nature. They didn't know. They just know this subject that they were taught. And they are just teaching also. Professors in America. They didn't know. So if professors don't know those things, the purpose of mathematics and something like that, even though they are teaching it, talk less of people in our own school and our, so yeah. So you will get it. You will even, by the time you come back, you will be teaching your own children that study the thing. By the time you come out of this HMT.
Yeah, I thank God that we are here to make history.
Yes.
Because there is what we normally refer to as identity crisis, which is what we have been in all this while. And you must also remember, as we are going through, this program, that we have, stereotypes that have been there, and like rigidity.
Right.
That we need to think and apply what we are looking at as the systems that the systems that are there already. It's gonna take us to change everything that is there because of the era that we're in, of the identity crisis. I remember, like, us as individuals sitting here, it takes time to realize who one is. And as we are looking at that, that we need to identify these principles so that we identify who we are, to identify these laws and principles in order to function very well. Then what I want us to look at is that in the process of us, moving forward, we need to think of, as we are discussing this, I'm thinking of my own country, South Africa, thinking of
sorry that I'm talking about Nigeria all the time.
That it is not only a Nigeria that has problems, but it's just that having passion with, our identity, you know. It makes things easy, which is gonna also make this be understandable with us as well, so that at least we can predict what can, you know, follow when you move on with things that we are here to do and here to learn. So looking at God's laws and principles, it's good, so that at least we identify what we are working around, what is happening around us, and thank God that we have this program which shows us that learning is lifelong. We need to learn and learn and learn.
Beautiful, beautiful. In the beginning, I asked all of you, are you aware of where you came to? First of all, the fact that this is HMT. Secondly, the fact that this is on systems, though. You are going to be shocked, though. And those shocks might be continuous all the time. Because you might be hearing things you've never heard before. And that might be a bit complex and difficult for you to be able to balance with where you are coming from. Especially if you are a religious freak. You are going to be totally shocked. But if you are hungry for truth, then it will be good for you. So we continue. I only have 45 more minutes, right? Okay, so let's go.
Two important things in this life. Number one, know what you need for success. And number two, be ready to pay the price for this success.
Okay, that's a saying that I always apply and I always refer to, which means that there are no failures in life. Nobody should fail in life. The only reason why people fail in life is because of one of two reasons. People fail in life either because they don't know what it takes to succeed. They don't know the laws of life that govern life, like what we've been talking about. Okay, why is it that people are not able to build airplanes? Because they don't know the laws. Why is it that people are not able to control the flood? Because they don't know the rules, the laws that govern the flood that has been happening. So people fail in life either because they don't know the laws of life or the laws that are responsible for that particular area of life where they have failed. So when you don't know the laws, you will not be able to create solutions. So you can only create solutions when you know the laws or principles that govern that environment, that particular thing you want to do. So that is the number one reason why people fail. The second reason why people fail in life is that they might actually know the laws of life or the principles of life, but they might not be willing to apply themselves and pay the price that it would take for them to do and apply the laws. For example, I personally believe that everybody can be a millionaire in US dollars. Although making $1 million, having $1 million doesn't make you a millionaire. It was later on, before when I started trying to be a millionaire myself, I thought once I make $1 million naira, $1 million or $2 million, then I'm already a millionaire. Once I made that $1 million, I discovered that it's just a figure. Right now, my own opinion about being a millionaire is that for you to really call yourself a millionaire, you must have at least $100 million. So by the time you have a couple of hundreds of millions of dollars, then you are a multi-millionaire. But for you to have $10 million and say you are a millionaire, make you come off for road. Huh? What is it? At your own level, okay? Yes, there was a time I'm talking about myself. Oh. There was a time I really thought that if you have $1 million US, you are already a millionaire. I was thinking I was a millionaire because I was having some $5 million somewhere. But now, I know that no. It's easier to make money, to make, so why is it that people, I personally believe that everybody can be a millionaire. I mean, not to be a millionaire in my own thinking now, but at least make $1 million. But why is it that they're not making it? Because they don't know the laws and the rules and the principles. Or some people have the book, so they write, they know the laws, but they are not willing to pay the price it will take to be a millionaire. So they are either one of the two things. Really, there are no failures in life. No country should fail. No individual should fail. If he really wants so. Because you could know some things, but it takes even greater level of, because knowing is just 10%. But to be able to have the character to do the thing is 40% of ability you need to be. Knowing the things is just 10%. The character, the willpower takes 40%. Then the environment gives you 50% to be able to become what you want to become. So what I'm saying here, that two things are important in life. Find out the laws. But today, in my country, and not just my country, all over the world, people go to school, they don't find out laws that rule life. They become engineers, but just to have paper and get a job, but not to create systems. So only people who, on their own, try, come across how to do systems, create systems. Other people are getting jobs. And because you don't know the laws, you don't know how to create systems, you just go and enter into the system of Uncle Sam. You'll be going to pay, they'll be paying you salary and you'll be servicing their system. Because you are not building your own system. So you become a slave to the system that somebody else has built. But then there are some people who might know the laws, but they don't have the discipline, the tenacity, the drive to pay the price success will take. Because one thing about success is that success will always demand from you a little bit more than you are willing to give. You are willing to do some things, but believe me, real success would take more, would demand more than that thing you want to do. So today and this week, we are discovering the laws and the principles that are responsible for functioning of life. So that is know what you need for success. Those are the things that you need to know for success. The laws that are operating. For example, how do I become a good parent? Before, when I was in Nigeria, I went to see one pastor. They call him Pastor Obadare. He used to be a blind pastor like that, evangelist. And he was telling me all kind of stories that he had to send his children away from home because all the pastors he knew that time, their children were always troublesome. So that children of pastors are always either troublesome or naughty, wayward. And I think some people still notice that today. Is it true? Yes. Now, and even not your pastors alone now, even children of Christians, that their parents are Christians, born again, but their children are not always straightforward, straight in life. They are sometimes troublesome. It was later on that I discovered that theory that Mr. Obada, Pastor or Evangelist Obada, I respect him, great man, but he doesn't know what I know now. Because it's not because you are children of pastors or bishop or Christians. It's just because of what you don't know. The parents didn't know some laws. Everybody can raise successful children. Everybody can raise children that will never give you problems. Normal problems, but not like wayward. You can. There are laws for that. So if you go to my family series, for example, you see the laws of raising children that are the best, greatest. No struggle. I'm a pastor. Have you ever listened to my children? Go in YouTube, go and listen to them. Exceptional. All of them. No single problem with any one of them. No challenge. Laws. So if I had bought into that theory and concept that it is mystery that rules the world, not fixed laws, I would have also been saying, God, oh, please take care of these children. No, please, so maybe we need to go send them to some place, or go and do sacrifice for them, or go and be giving offering for firstborn, because firstborns are always stubborn, or some mysterious. Those are paganistic worldview that make you to think like that. Oh, some enemies are after them because you are a pastor. Ignorance, eh? What ignorance does? Bad news. Spiritual attack. Yeah, you got it. But the spiritual attack is in your ignorance. And some people, they will be going to do what they call spiritual warfare. So that they so that their children will not be wayward. It's all about ignorance, you see. There are only two reasons for failure in life, guys. One reason is either because you don't know the laws that are responsible to make those children become straight and, honorable children. Or you might know, but you don't apply yourself. You don't pay the price that it will take for you to be able to make them become like that. But when it's easier to always say it's mysterious somewhere. It's some mysterious forces and responsible. So you don't take responsibility. But not just about family. This is about countries too. So I would talk about Nigeria. I've written that book. Only God can save Nigeria, forget about it. No. It's, again, paganistic worldview. Putting responsibility on God somewhere. No. We just need to know the rules and the laws. And then pay the price that it will take for us to be able to build a great nation. So there are no failures in life. There are only two possibilities for failures. Either you don't know the laws and the principles that success demands, or you know, but you are not willing to pay the price of discipline to do them. So when we are talking about all these things, dominating the earth, dominating the sea, dominating the ocean, dominating the sky, we need to find out the laws. If we don't know the laws, we will just be like our grandfathers at home that are helpless. And then somebody will bring a mirror and say, "Oh, I'm seeing myself here." Then you send your whole village to them. Because we don't know the laws. You are helpless when you don't know the laws. So the earth is built on laws. Everything is built to function on laws. You know why churches are filled in Nigeria, in Africa? Churches are filled up. Because they don't teach them to know the laws that govern life. They tell them that life is mysterious. So the big man, the man of God, is the one who knows the mystery, who has the keys to heaven. He is chosen. He is superior to you. He is better than you. I'm not better than you. I only happen to know something. Nobody is better than you, actually. They just happen to know something you don't know. But in Africa, they come with this concept of he is anointed. You are not. What is that about? It's oppressive system. It's oppression. It's just about what you know and what you don't know, guys. So that's why we also need science. That's why we need physics and chemistry and mathematics to be able to find out laws. But then when you find out the laws, you also need to pay the price. That's no problem. There are no failures in this world.
There are no failures in this world. There are only those who, number one, don't know the principles of success. Number two, they know, but are not willing to pay the price.
Those are exactly what I've just explained, right? I think that's understandable enough.
If you study the laws which great people used to achieve their success and apply them, you too can achieve outstanding results.
So, which means if anybody ever achieved anything, if anybody ever did anything in life, you too can repeat it. On what condition? On the condition that you will study and find out the principles he applied, the laws he applied. And if you discipline yourself to apply the same set of laws and do it as well as he has done it, you'll be able to achieve the same success. So when we look at some people and think that they are superhumans, like Einstein, Albert Einstein, or Isaac Newton, but we now know there are people, there have been scientists that have been able to duplicate and even do more than they did. Why? Because if you will be able to find out the rules and the laws that any person that attained that success applied, you'll be able to do the same thing. That's in line with the example of what Dr. Anu spoke about. 500 years ago, even in Europe here, for you to be literate, to read and write, they used to think that you have been gifted by God. That's why every village has a village teacher or village headmaster. And the village headmaster, they will bring goats to him, and sheep and animals and bag rice of anything they harvest, and everybody will be bringing so that he will take their child to train to read and write. Why? Because they thought it was superhuman, because they couldn't read and write. So reading and writing was rare, that's why. And you know why it was rare? Nobody has committed reading and writing to principles and to laws, because there were no alphabets. So people who could read and write were the people who could just calculate it and do it themselves at that point. So, but later on, when it was subjected to alphabet, which has been a long time, it has been subjected to alphabet thousands of years back, but it didn't go so fast to everywhere. But once you get the laws of alphabets, now with the alphabet, even you can go to China and learn their language. You can come here to Russia. Can you imagine me? I'm speaking Russian, and I'm reading it. Have you try to read these letters, Roger? Your head will eat bricks. You can't, because you don't have the clue. You don't have alphabet. So why is it that you fail to be able to read Russian or Ukrainian language? That is it. Your failure is explainable. You don't know the laws. What are the laws of reading? Alphabets. And you have not committed time and discipline to learn. So that's why failure is explainable. So before, the whole world couldn't read. Only few people. And those people who could read it were looking at them like God. But when the formula came, now everybody could just take, the alphabet of any society. In fact, a white person from Ukraine here can go to my village and learn Yoruba language and speak it. When they just need to know the algorithm, the formulas, the principles, the fixed laws. And the fixed law is important. So can you now imagine if somebody had not committed, had not find out they have not discovered alphabets. All of us would have still been in darkness. It would have been impossible to learn any other thing. Same thing with driving. Do you know that 100 years ago, if you drive, in fact, they will be giving you national medal, honor, national honor because you can drive a car. That you are the first person to drive a car. So the president will be awarding you. Now we're laughing. Yes. Even 20, 30, 50 years ago, driving a car was a profession. They used to produce drivers. You didn't remember that time? People were going to qualify as drivers. That's what I'm saying. That is their job, their profession. Oh, you didn't remember?
That's the source of driving schools.
Huh?
Far back than 50 years ago. Far back than that.
No, even recent. I'm talking as recent as even maybe 20 years ago in some countries.
Oh, I thought you meant Nigeria.
No, I'm talking about as recent. That people will be going to learn driving and doing it as a profession. You understand what I mean? But it's silly now to think about who will you become? I want to become a driver. I mean, it's silly now to think about that. Why? Because those days, even though you are the oga, you are the owner of the car, you couldn't drive. You have to go and get somebody who is trained to be a driver. That's what I'm saying. But later on, when driving school formula became popularized, it was a formula. It was laws. There were no driving schools. That's why there were drivers that were just like uniquely gifted people. But once they came up with the concept, with the algorithm, the formula, the laws of driving, people were driving, but they didn't commit it to principles step by step. Once it was committed to laws and rules, now everybody can just go and go to driving school and learn to drive. Everybody is a driver. I don't know if you are getting it. So why is it that the whole world couldn't drive that time? There were no laws, no rules. Once everybody learned the laws and the rules, now everybody is driving. But you could learn the laws and the rules, but if you don't commit time and discipline to learning, you will also not drive. You see? So there are only two explanations for failure. Either you don't know the laws and the rules. So why is it that Nigeria is failing? Our people who are leading us don't know how nations function, how successful nations function. They don't know the rules. Or if you say they know, it means then they are not disciplining themselves, applying the rules. Because a lot of people in my country say, but our politicians come to Europe now. Don't they see what is here? I've discovered that you can even live in Europe for 50 years and not know how Europe is built. Even Europeans themselves don't know how it's built, talk less of you just coming to visit. You need to go deeper than that before you can, because all of us that are living in Europe, we don't know how Europe functions, how it's built. We just go to job. We know some little things there. We just go to work. So the fact that they are coming to visit doesn't mean they know. Knowing is different. And then you have to have the discipline to apply. So those are the only explanation for success. But the good thing is that we can find out the rules. And if anybody ever did it, you can do it. I mean, a few years ago, Bill Gates was the richest man in the world. I mean, he was ahead. I was far ahead of everybody else. But now Jeff Bezos is overtaking him, almost doubled. Sharon wanted to ask something.
When you were talking, something just occurred to me that when Nigerians come abroad, especially the ones I've seen in North America, they've been driving in Nigeria, but a lot of them failed the driving test.
You see? Because they don't follow the rules.
Yeah. And it now make, as you were explaining, because they're not following rules. They just drive.
Just drive, no rules.
Taught properly, and they don't follow the rules. So they fail, they repeat the exam. Like
no, I don't mean they don't follow the rules in the road. I mean they don't know the laws of driving.
Yeah. They can drive, but they don't follow.
Know the laws of driving.
And in North America, they're not going to pass you unless you follow those things.
Because everything depends on rules and laws there. For example, the same thing in Africa. Do you know that people build... Don't let me talk about Nigeria. I'm just pissed up. They build roads. I mean, I can show you photographs. They build roads in Nigeria, and their president is going to commission roads. Where did you see that last? Go president. I mean, people who are building roads here, president doesn't even know that there is people that are building roads. Anyway, so, but let me tell you about what, you just like, you said they are driving, but they fail when they go to America. Because the roads they are building in Africa too, they are, if I'm going to commission, I'm going to accept it, I will not accept it, they have failed. Because how can you build road, no pedestrians be there, and you say you have built a road? No drainage, and you say you have built road. No trees. No trees by the roadside, and you say you have built road. No middle separation between lanes, and then so that there will be trees or something, demarcation there, and you say you have built road. No mark of road signs and mark, and you say you have built road. Don't let me talk about that one. Have they not failed? It's the same thing as driving in Nigeria and then going to do fail driving licenses here. Because no, they don't follow rules. So those people who are, even house, you say you build house, and then nothing is functioning there. No rules. People don't follow rules. So everything depends on laws, fixed laws. But we are not a nation of law. Yeah. We don't know that yet. So there are no fixed laws. That's why everything is chaotic in our society. No fixed laws for everything. But in this Western world, you have to follow it the way they say it. Otherwise, you will not get permission. It either is house or driving or anything. Before it could be accepted, you have to make sure you follow everything to the minute detail.
Professional jobs in Canada.
Yes.
I mean, if you're a professor like
No, we need the microphone for you. What did you say, ma?
Even
you have to start all over again.
Professional jobs in Canada that I know, even if you're a doctor in Nigeria or you're a nurse, you still have to come and learn in Canada before you can operate.
Because you need to be able to know and make sure that you follow rules. But our own doctor and something might not even follow any rules. Okay, so can you read that again, please?
If you study the laws which great people used to achieve their success and apply them, you too can achieve outstanding results.
You see, everybody can get the same result as anybody else, but we must have the discipline to learn the rules that they applied. So if any country is able to be developed, we can also make every other country be developed if we study diligently how they are able to do it and apply the rules.
Genius is the mind's patience, focused on the unknown, on the known direction. Isaac Newton.
Now, this is a very great, I have a whole book written on this, how to create your own genius. This is Isaac Newton talking here. What it means here is very deep. What he's saying basically here is that everybody can become a genius. First, by applying his mind. Everybody can become a genius if he or she will apply his mind. But when you come to my country, they will tell you that Oyibo now, they are Oyibo. The reason I do my programs, Kingdom Fruits and things like that, is because when I used to bring my church members to testify about what they are doing, after listening to me and what, all the things that they are doing, people on my platform used to say, yeah, for Oyinbos it's easier. Yeah, they are Oyinbos because they don't have generational courses. So I was telling them, no, I will teach you too the same thing. And no generational courses will hold you back. So that's why I started all this interview I started to do. Kingdom Fruit testimonies and things, so that people will see that you've been following me just for 6 months or 1 year, and you're already doing the same thing that the Oyimbos are doing. For the people who don't know what Oyinbo means, is Mungu. Is it Mungu or you call them? They are main Europeans. Whites, yeah. So genius is not, because I was growing up, I thought that geniuses, God gives them. That there are some people that God makes to be genius. Okay, for example, when I was growing up in my own part of the country, we used to think that someone like Wale Soyinka was a genius. But when I grew up, I discovered that the guy isn't any genius. There is no genius. No, he's smart, but just a regular guy, just good in what he does in literature, but no genius. Then later on I discovered another thing. Nobody is a genius. Everybody can make himself a genius if he wants. But the idea of genius that I thought is that God gives geniuses, that God creates them to be genius. But it's a lie. Because that's the story I was telling in my preaching. That when I was in school, all my teachers used to knock my head and say, "You are so dull." And I was looking at, because there was, in every class in Nigeria, you always see people who had first, second, third. And they're always competing among themselves. So I reached the conclusion that they were the genius. That God created them to be genius. But me, I was not lucky. He didn't choose me to be among them. He didn't create me to be a genius. How stupid that is. I know better now. But Isaac Newton is saying, genius, not a big deal. Genius, if you can apply your mind and patience. I don't know if you people know this. I have a book that I've written about Albert Einstein, but I've not published it. It's in Russian language. The secret, he said, my secret. People are saying, what's your secret? He said, my secret is simple. It's patience. He didn't use the word patient, but I will tell you, when he described it, you will know that it's patience he's talking about. He said, if they tell me that there is a needle in a garbage dump, yeah, where there is, garbage dump, everything is there. Liquid and solid and dirty and smelling and garbage dump. But they said there is a needle somewhere, garbage bag, needle somewhere there. Needle is so small, in a garbage box, everything is smelling. You don't have a chance of seeing it. He said everybody will go and look for that needle. It's a hard work. He said, but in my own case, I join them and I look for the needle. But when every other person manages to find the needle, they take that needle, put it on top of their head and say, Eureka, or what do you call it? Eureka, and run around the city. I found the needle. I found the needle. And they be turned into celebration. But in my own case, the reason for my ingenuity, that when I find that needle, I put it beside me and say, hey, maybe there is another needle. There might still be another one inside though. And I continue to dig into the dirt and into the garbage, into the trash. And if I'm lucky, I will still find. If I'm not lucky, I keep on digging. Maybe I will be lucky. And if I happen to be lucky, that's what it does science. Science is about discovery, laws. I stay in the laboratory and keep on discovering, digging. See, this is what they were supposed to have been teaching all our children from primary school, secondary school, about what education is about, discovery. That's what I say about education. So if I discover the second one, I rejoice, but for a short while. I never run. I put it down again. And I said, what about if there is another one that I've not discovered? He said, instead of taking a rest and going to celebrate my victory, I keep on digging. Per adventure, there is still maybe another needle somewhere there. And he said that, but what happens is that even if I don't find another needle, he said, from my life experience, I've discovered that apart from needle, there might be other interesting things there that I discover in the process. So why have I discovered more than everybody? Because I keep on seeking my leg there and keep on digging deep. Then I remember Nigerian football team. We scored 1 goal. By the time we finish celebrating, they have recognized. And then we cannot overtake them again. Celebration, just like, and we go wild, and no restraint, no constraints, no system of constraint. They go, everybody is celebrating and dancing. So genius is the mind's patience. So you know why I described that thing as patience, what Albert Einstein was doing. Is that not patience? Yes. I think it's might be more than patience. I think it's long suffering. So, but what Albert Einstein, what Isaac Newton here is saying is that if you apply your mind patiently enough to study that subject and not give up, the patience of the mind, that is genius. The ability, it will lead you to one needle. They will say you are a genius, but because of that patience, you find the second one. They say, you are a super genius, because of that patience of the mind, you find the third one. But people who don't have the patience to stay in the laboratory, people who don't have the patience to stay in the library, to keep on digging deep, they will not even find one needle, talk less of two. So that is genius. That's how geniuses are created. Genius is the mind's patience focused on the known direction, so it's on the subject that he wants to discover. That's how everybody becomes genius, through hard work. Hard work is the womb of genius. See? Okay. I think the next class I will come back to begin to talk about. This is everything I've told you so far is the foundation for system building. I'll come back and start with understanding systems. But before I come back, one of my disciples will come and he will tell you, he was a drug addict. That guy was a drug addict, never going to school, never done anything. But he was taught, trained here, young man, and he will tell you what he has used system building ability to create and to build. And he will, because when you hear ordinary people and see what they have been able to create, not Pastor Sunday, then you will know that no, he didn't even study engineering, he didn't even go to university, he didn't even finish primary, secondary school. It was after he had been delivered, we have trained him, that he went to finish secondary school and then university, because that's the system we put for them. But so he's now a missionary in Bulgaria, and he will come and share with you how he's now using system building to now deliver other people, to bring people to salvation, to, yeah. But I will come to talk to you more about other system building, understanding systems. This is not system building that I'm going to talk about, but understanding systems, just for you to understand systems. So what we have done so far is to know that on the basis of everything, including system, are laws, principles, fixed laws and principles. So it's the foundation of, it's like alphabet. For you to be able to write a book, you must even first of all know that words to write, they are built on alphabets first. So you must know what alphabets means before you could even know what words are and how to write them. Talk less of writing a book. So before I go, I think I still have 5 minutes. Can I ask any one of you to tell me in short what you have gotten from this first class of today? What do you think you got from it? It's just in general. You don't. This is not an exam now. This is just your feeling, your impression. Just tell me what you think is happening to you in your mind, in your emotions. Anybody want to say anything? Yes, please. You might need to stand up as well.
I've learned today renewal of mind, to renew my thinking. And I've learned today to organize myself by planning ahead. And I've written that I have to go and look to study on laws and principle, how to guide me. Maybe that is where I'm failing because I wasn't following the laws.
The best way for you to learn those things,
yes,
are to get my books. Life is Predictable, that's number one.
Okay.
The second book is called My Greatest Life Discoveries. What?
Life Greatest Secrets.
Life Greatest Secrets. Life Greatest Secrets.
Can you write it down?
Yeah, Life Greatest Secrets, by Life's Greatest Discovery it's called. Because I don't even know any other person who writes about that. For you to be, so if you say you are going to find books, I don't even know which one to recommend for you, how you go find. But I know that I do. And then you might need to go and also listen to this. When we finish this HMT, you will need to listen again and again.
And again, it opens my mind to my children, because I forced them to go and read law.
Oh,
and they read law.
You are a Nigerian, I think.
Yes.
A Nigerian mama, Nigerian parents.
They read law, but they end up in investment. So
wow.
that one really, because they told me that they weren't happy with what they've gone to study, and now they've taken another step. So they've wasted that 3 years in the uni doing what the parents want them to do. And that one really opens my mind for maybe grandchildren in the future.
How long have you been in the UK?
I've been there for 32 years now.
Wow. So you probably left Nigeria the same year I did.
I left like 1987.
Okay, I left 86. So, but that is what I'm trying to say to you people. You could live in Europe for 30 years and not even know what we're talking about. It doesn't follow. It's not a given. Okay, any other? Okay, I think you wanted.
I watched your program yesterday when you were talking about your wife. That your wife was saying our voice is not good.
Right.
And I think I was in the same spot as well, because I was saying my English is not good, so I couldn't do so many things. Even I was so timid to speak English to some people because I don't want them to say, oh, otabon.
Well, English people know they say otabon now. It is our own African people who say like that. And we don't even speak the English, Papa.
My mind was open to the fact that everything, that God has created is about laws and how to apply those principles.
You got that main idea.
And now, to me, it was really in my mind that you might be a Christian, you might not be a Christian, but if you do not apply laws of nature and its principles, you won't get far. So this is what it has been impressed in me, to know that, I'm sorry to say, even other religious people who just follow laws, see how successful they are, and see Christians, I'm sorry to say that to viewers out there, if they don't follow laws and principles, please help me here. They will not go anywhere.
Yeah.
So it has opened my mind to say it is not too late to mend. We can still here start following laws, discover, what is there. Because to me, I'm in a, education environment where it has been like, I need to go dig what laws, are there and principles that could make me to be more successful. you know, and that is, you know, I learned a lot. Thank you.
In my own case, I just, the quote that comes to my head is the Bible passage that says, study to show yourself approved. You know, like when we study, when we read books, then we'll be able to know. We'll be able to, our mind will be exposed to information. And, you know, the laws and the principle that we really need to apply to make our life worth living, that we will be able to get it. A lot of us here today, we're saying, oh, we've never heard this before. It's because we don't know. We
have not studied it.
We've not studied. We've not come across somebody like you who is able to teach us, who is able to open our mind, you know. And I thank God that I'm part of this.
Amen.
I have learned that God has set laws and principles and also set their functionality.
Right.
And that understanding, that with my understanding the patterns and determination, I can create my own destiny.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I was reading somewhere in your book this morning.
Yeah.
And what I read was something very, very fundamental, but very simple. Everything in this life needs action.
Mm-hmm.
If you have nothing in the present, if you don't take certain actions, nothing will appear tomorrow. And you know what's amazing about what you just said, Doctor, I was thinking about money so much for some years now. And I kept asking myself, how do those people who make money make money? And it really didn't matter to me whether these are children of God, they're not children of God.
Mm-hmm.
Just the idea itself. And somehow what our brother in front just said, it resonated with what you're talking about and teaching us. You know, that it's not even about being a child of God.
Right.
Because the laws have nothing to do with being a child of God. Whether you're Muslim, whether you're a child of God, the laws prescribed by our God are objective. No wonder those in the Arab world have money because of a resource. And so what is so liberating for me is just that simple thing that I just read. Anywhere, wherever we are, we can begin the journey to realize our goals. It really doesn't matter whether we are in a very dire place, whether we are in a very good place, as long as we actually begin to get the light of the laws, we can realize our dreams. And it's so liberating for me just to be in this environment where I'm being taught what I'm being taught.